It is in fact that time once again, as we will step all the way back to the beginning of this historic franchise for our best team. It's always a treat to go back to Red and Blue, and today we're going to be doing that with the best team featuring Charizard. There's still a bunch of alternative best teams to go, but I thought that now would be as good of a time as any to head back to the place that started it all, and get those alternative starters out of the way. Charizard is majorly beloved among Pokemon fans everywhere. And while it definitely isn't the greatest starter to have to use for a playthrough of these original releases, I feel I've built a team around it that helps clear everything up, and for the most part, gives us a clear and easy path to becoming champion of the Indigo League. You guys know how best teams work probably, but for anyone new to the series, allow me to fill you in real quick. A best team is a team of 6 Pokemon that is designed for the absolute best performance for its said Pokemon game. The team usually revolves around a best starter, but since we're using alternate starters, we're going to be rocking with Charizard as I already said. Each team member is designed to do well against the Gym Leaders, the Elite Four members, and the Champion when it comes to Red and Blue. There are no trade evolutions allowed, and all TMs are available depending on if you can get your hands on one or not prior to finishing the game. If this were about any other generation, we'd be talking about this team was also made to be evil team leaders, and rivals, it would not use egg moves. But those just aren't things we've got to worry about this time around. Anyway, no more explaining stuff. We've got to get into the meat and potatoes of this team. We're starting off with Charizard, and things become so painfully clear that it's the worst starter pretty quickly. I understand that Charizard gained its popularity back in the day, and it never really lost it, but I'm pretty confident it did not get this popular due to how much fun it was to use in Pokemon Red and Blue. The reality of Charizard's existence is that the first 2 gym leaders tear it apart, regardless of if you have Charmander or have evolved it at level 16 in the Charmeleon. It just isn't an easy road for this boy, but that's alright, because I'm here to try and make it as useful as possible. Surely there must be a plethora of coverage and stab moves for it to get, right? Well, let's take a look. Alrighty, we've got Flamethrower, that's pretty good, and then Slash and Seismic Toss. Those are both fine moves in the first gen, with all the weird way the mechanics work and whatever. And then finally, there's Earthquake. And I guess even though Charizard's special outdoes attack 109 to 84, it isn't exactly a horrible move to have by any means for those rock types. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty decent set, but I just realized something. Charizard's also a flying type, and I forgot to throw in some flying type stab. So let's go fix that real fast. Aw, crap. I forgot. Charizard doesn't get fly in Pokemon Red and Blue. It doesn't get any flying type attacks at all. I have to ask, what's even the point of this thing having wings if you can't even use wing attack? Why did Game Freak not give this thing any flying type attacks in Generation 1? Well, I guess as they always say, Gen 1 is trash after all. When it comes to what we do have, Flamethrower is learned at level 46 by Charizard. And while you have to wait to get it, you can always use Ember. Well, actually, you can only use Ember until you've defeated Blaine. And even then, I wouldn't be surprised if you overleveled your Charizard a bit to make sure you had Flamethrower already. The next move is Slash, and that is an incredibly broken move in Red and Blue due to the slightly lackluster programming. It's basically going to crit a lot thanks to Charizard's speed stat, which is at base 100. Next, we have Seismic Toss, which is obtainable on Route 25. But you might need Cut for it. However, if you're a crafty player, like myself, you can just get the trainer that's blocking access to it to move by battling him. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys ever did that, by the way. I know I always make sure to get the dude to move, so I don't have to waste any time using Cut to get it. Finally, we have Earthquake, which is a TM obtained from defeating Giovanni for your final gym badge. I'd recommend using Dig until then, which of course you'll get as you leave Cerulean and head to Vermilion City. Comment section, attack Mystic! He made another mistake! Everybody go! Even though one person already said it! Get him! Tricked ya. You actually get Earthquake from Silphco on the 10th floor. Nice try, comment section. Beat you to it this time. So with these moves, Charizard is going to be able to do well against Lieutenant Surge's entire team, Erika's entire team, Koga's entire team, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine's entire team, Giovanni's entire team except for Dugtrio, Lorelei's Jinx, Bruno's 2 Onix, Agatha's entire team except for Golbat, and Blue's Rhydon, Arcanine, and Exeggutor. So, for only having ground and fire type moves that have the potential to do super effective damage, Charizard actually dominates a lot. I guess I kind of take back what I said earlier, implying it was pretty bad. It can actually do an awful lot. It might be useless for your first 2 gym battles, but after that, it really takes the wheel. Alright, we move on to the next member of the team. And since we couldn't make Charizard a flyer because Gen 1's trash, I'll have to pick out a different one. There were 3 main options I thought about here, being Pidgeot, Fearow, and Dodrio. I quickly deduced that Pidgeot wasn't going to cut it, and then I was pushed over the edge to definitely go with Dodrio, since I used it on the original best team. Also, its access to Tri-Attack makes it all the more attractive of an option, and considering how broken status elements are in the first generation, it was totally worth it to use once again. You can capture Doduo on Route 16, which is right by the cycling road area that Snorlax is blocking off. You need to get it to level 31, and then you've got yourself a fine Dodrio to play around with. Thankfully, you'll get Fly right where you capture Doduo too, so you'll be able to get wherever you want rather quickly. Let's take a look at what moves it has along with Fly and Tri-Attack that earn it a spot here today. One more thing I want to mention, Charizard's got wings, and it can't fly, but Dodrio can fly. I don't get it. The moveset we've got on Dodrio is Fly, Tri-Attack, Drill Peck, and Double Team. As I was mentioning, Fly is gotten right at Route 16 in the house on the other side of the gate from where you captured Doduo in the first place. Next up, there's Tri-Attack, which you can get right away for your Doduo when you capture it from the Celadon City department store by giving a girl a lemonade on the roof. It's got a chance to either paralyze, burn, or freeze your opponent, making it a top tier move. As I'm sure you guys remember from the programming issues of Red and Blue, it's possible to freeze a Pokemon and leave them basically stuck that way until they're hit with a fire type attack. Then we have Drill Peck, learned at level 30, and that will be a nice stab attack that doesn't make you wait 2 turns to actually hit. Finally, we have Double Team, which will upraise Dodrio's evasiveness. I know that on the remastered best team, I gave that to Dugtrio and had Double Edge running at this moveset, but I thought differently of it this time. Seeing as how Tri-Attack is just so good, that just spamming it against mostly any Pokemon is a very viable strategy. So with these moves, Dodrio will be able to do well against Erika's entire team, Sabrina's Venomoth, Bruno's Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Machamp, and finally, Blue's Exeggutor. Well, that's definitely not a massive list of Pokemon that Dodrio can run through with its flying type stab, but that isn't a huge deal. Like I said, the Double Team Tri-Attack combo is the big part of this moveset, as it has so much potential to render battles essentially over right from the start. So I'll be bringing back one last team member from the remastered best team for this video, and that would be Dugtrio. I don't feel like I have to go into too much detail about this thing. It's pretty obvious why it's here. You can get it right before you battle with Lieutenant Surge, which essentially leaves his team powerless against you. And with the extremely high speed stat Dugtrio has, it's pretty much a crit machine. I mean, who needs bulk when you can just use Slash? So anyway, just peruse Diglett's Cave for a while until you captured, a lot earlier, and it's easier to catch. Dugtrio is bringing Earthquake, Slash, Rock Slide, and Toxic into battle during this journey. We lead off with Earthquake, which Dugtrio will get at level 47, and until then, go ahead and use Dig, which should be on its moveset when you capture it. Next up, we have Slash, which I went on about on Charizard. Dugtrio has base 120 speed, which is one of the highest of the generation, so Slash is pretty much going to crit a lot, and hit also for some tremendous damage. Next up is Rock Slide, which is a TM that can be gotten from that Tri-Attack girl on top of the Celadon department store if you give her some Soda Pop. That'll be fantastic for any ice types when it comes to coverage. Finally, we have Toxic, which you'll get from defeating Koga, and I felt it was a nice alternative move to Double Team since I decided to give that to Dodrio this time around. And I mean, who doesn't like causing some residual damage? Alright, with these moves, Dugtrio will be able to do well against Lieutenant Surge's entire team, Koga's entire team, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine's entire team, Giovanni's entire team except his own Dugtrio, Lorelei's entire team except for Slowbro, but be very careful, Bruno's duo of Onix, Agatha's entire team, Lance's Dragonite, Gyarados, and Aerodactyl, and Blue's Pidgeot, Rhydon, and Arcanine. Dugtrio really comes in clutch against Lance, and for the most part, matches Charizard's productivity entirely when I'm looking for an electric type in a playthrough of Generation 1. It just makes sense. It's really good, and of course its speed justifies it being used. However, this time, I elected to go in a different direction. I thought about how badly we needed something to take on Misty that we could also use to help through the rest of the challenge, so that we're not constantly capturing a single Pokemon to help us defeat a gym leader, and then shortly after, abandoning it. If we have to do it once, which spoiler alert, we do for Brock, then that's fine. However, given the fact up to this point, the only Pokemon we'd have for that battle is Charmeleon. I had to get another Pokemon on this team. That's why I decided to use Raichu this time around, since we can get Pikachu in the Viridian Forest. You'll need to buy a Thunderstone from the Celadon City department store in order for you to evolve it, which means this is a very simple evolution. Raichu is pretty strong, with 90 base special at 100 base speed, so it's not going to have a problem filling in for Jolteon as a critting machine against many Pokemon. It may not be as fast, but 100 base speed is definitely something not to sneeze at. Let's take a look at the moveset and see if I managed to come up with any super effective moves besides Thunderbolt to give this thing. We've got Agility, Thunderbolt, Body Slam, and Payday. So the question is answered pretty quickly that no, there wasn't another move I could put on this thing to do super effective damage. That wasn't just another electric type move. So I chose to go with Agility, just so Raichu could improve upon an already great speed stat, meaning we truly will get those critical hits. I mean, a critical hit from Thunderbolt is definitely going to be doing more damage than Slash. Speaking of, we've got Thunderbolt here for Raichu, which it'll get as a Pikachu after defeating Lieutenant Surge. Also, I lied again. Critical hits are only based around base speed, but is a TM found on the SS and, offering yet another move for Raichu to try and paralyze other Pokemon with. It's a fine option if it's in against the Pokemon that resist electric type moves anyway. Finally, we've got Payday, which I was sort of surprised to see was actually a TM in Red and Blue, because it totally slipped my mind that anything was learning that besides the Meowth line. I figured it's always nice to make a little extra money in these games, so why not? Alright, so with these moves, Raichu will be able to do well against Misty's entire team, Lorelei's entire team except for Jinx, Agatha's Golbat, Lance's Gyarados and Aerodactyl, and Blue's Pidgeot and Blastoise. The electric typing comes through for Misty's team and Blue's Blastoise, and honestly, that's all we really need to do. At this point, when it comes to Red and Blue, you can literally put a Pokemon that is only good for one battle on a best team, and sort of just justify it being there if it's at least a good Pokemon. And that is certainly what Raichu is. Next up on this team, we've got a fighting type option joining us, Hitmonlee. That's right, a Pokemon I actually used on my remastered version of the best team for Kanto, which was made for Fire Red and Leaf Green. This time, in the first gen, I figured it would be nice to have some fighting type presence, despite the fact that Hitmonlee is one of the latest Pokemon we'll be adding to the team. It's obtained in Saffron City at the Fighting Dojo. I know some of you are more into Hitmonchan, but I honestly am bigger into Hitmonlee myself. Let me know which one you guys prefer down in the comments. Now, the thing is that Hitmonlee quite simply will offer nothing but fighting and normal type moves, though I don't think that's a big deal. As a matter of fact, let's get into the moveset and just go over what it'll be bringing to the table. So we've got High Jump Kick, Rolling Kick or Submission, Strength, and Meditate. High Jump Kick is the strongest stab move that Hitmonlee has, and while there is some risk in using it, I figured it was a good idea to just keep it on. Then, we have either your choice of Rolling Kick or Submission. Rolling Kick has a 30% chance to flinch the opponent, but Submission is stronger. The issue I see with Submission though, is the recoil damage on it, which can be a real turnoff. I think that either way, you'll be good with whichever one you pick. Next up, there's Strength, Meditate, which when used, will boost Hitmonlee's attack by a stage, making it even stronger. So, with these moves, Hitmonlee will be able to do well against Giovanni's Kangaskhan when you battle him at the top of Silph.Co. And yes, I know I haven't brought up that battle until now, but his gym team is basically using the same Pokemon, except there's no Kangaskhan. And then his Rhydon and Rhyhorn in the gym battle as well. Then, there's all of Lorelei's Pokemon, except for Slowbro and Jinx. The duo of Onix that Bruno has, and Blue's Rhydon. So that's not exactly a lot of Pokemon, but the fact is that it'll help with the Kangaskhan, and a bunch of rock types as well. I mean, we haven't even introduced a water type yet, but don't worry, because we're about to right now. Alright, so as you guys are aware, I tend to use Lapras when I do best teams for Red and Blue, as it's really good and something that you're given. If not something you receive, or I'm not holding that against it for something we'll get into when we talk about the moves. When it comes to acquiring Slowbro, it isn't that hard to do in all honesty. You just need to use a Super Rod, which you can acquire after you've gotten the Pokeflute and moved Snorlax out of the way. You just have to head back over to Celadon City and fish one up. From there, level it up to 37, and you have yourself a Slowbro. For now though, let's get into the moves real quick, and I'll try to focus in a little more on why Slowbro made it here over Lapras. We've got Psychic, Surf, Ice Beam, and Amnesia making up the moveset Slowbro is using. We start off with Psychic, which you can use the TM gotten in Saffron to put on this set instead of waiting until level 55. Next up is of course the much needed Surf, which is obtained in the Safari Zone once you've reached the end. You'll be able to head down to Fuchsia right away after getting Slowpoke if you want, so go ahead and do that, and it'll instantly have its best water move. Then, we have Ice Beam, which is the final move you can get from that girl on the roof of the Celadon City department store if you give her fresh water. Finally, the move that puts Slowbro here over Lapras is Amnesia. It's learned at level 40 by Slowpoke. So basically, what I'm telling you to do is keep your Slowpoke from evolving into Slowbro until it learns Amnesia, meaning you'll need to wait an extra 3 levels. I'll explain why in a little bit, but just know that Amnesia is amazing in the first gen, and using it once will boost Slowbro's special by 2 stages, which will make it into such a great specially attacking wall. So with these moves, Slowbro will be able to do well against Sabrina's Venomoth, Koga's entire team, Blaine's entire team, Giovanni's entire team, Bruno's entire team, Agatha's entire team, Lance's entire team, and Blue's Pidgeot, Arcanine, Exeggutor, and Rhydon. Do you guys see the sort of domination that Slowbro brings forth with its psychic typing? Lapras is really good, but the fact is that Slowbro has Amnesia, which will quickly make it as good as Lapras, if not better. And honestly, I think that the water psychic typing is just better than the water ice typing. That's just me though. Let me know if you'd have used Lapras over Slowbro in the end. There may be even some of you guys arguing for Starmie's case, but once again, I really like the idea of Amnesia. Now, before we wrap things up, there is something I like to address with this team. We have nothing for Brock or any Psychic type Pokemon. So, essentially, in the first generation, Psychic types were broken. They had only one weakness, being to Bug, and were completely immune to Ghost types. That put me in a pretty horrible position, but that's part of the reason why I decided to go Slowbro on this team instead of Lapras, and why for the Blastoise team, I might feature yet another Slowbro despite Blastoise water typing. I'm not sure yet, we'll find out. Slowbro is able to use Sabrina's Psychic types with a usage of Surf. It just made sense to me to not force a Beedrill onto this team with Twin Needle, just to have a Bug type move for Psychic types. So, just walling them out seemed like the way to go. As for Brock, he's the only one time I'll suggest just getting a Mankey if you're playing Red, or Butterfree in Blue that has Confusion, and relying on those to get you through the battle. I'd also recommend if you're playing Red, maybe Mankey would probably be a better option for you. If you think that Mankey would be a better option than Hitmonlee, by all means go for that as well. Brock is just so aggravating when you have Charmander as your starter, and I don't have any better idea to help get through him than turning to either of those Pokemon. Well, that's going to do it for another alternate starter best team. This one really challenged me to go out and make a fresh new team that subverted the issue I would usually have to deal with while playing through Red and Blue, mainly Psychic types. Let me know down in the comments if you guys thought I did a good job with this one. And also, don't forget, if you all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too, as it really helps us out. I also do other content on my Twitch, where I stream Genshin Impact, Mystic Zora, where I do Pokemon Let's Plays and other gaming content, and of course Mystic Sage, where I do all anime content. Right now, I'm focusing on Inuyasha and Yashahime, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. If you'd like to support me even further than that, check out my Patreon. Whether it's a $1 tip to get early thumbnail access, or the $10 tier to get cool Perler bead charms and a shoutout. There's tons of reasons to join today. These lovely people did, and I thank them all so much for their support. It really means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Umbreon, and I will see you all next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.